Hey guys, Liam here. That's my name anyway. Welcome to my video. That's enough of that. Hello, and welcome to the Weekly News Roundup until the weekly news ends. My name's Lee, I am your bitch, and we are going to be going through everything that's come out of the last week in Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave news. We got some character profiles, we got some lore implications. Before we get into the character descriptions though, we have two tidbits of Dagda lore, one of which is already the setup for the game, the tournament, but the other one we didn't know. A vast continent entrusted to the sovereign by the goddess. After several major battles, the mighty Dagda Empire was established 1500 years ago. Beneath the empire exist three nations, each harboring the embers of conflict within, yet quietly continuing to mark time in an era of peace and prosperity. We learn two neat little things here. First of all, are we finally getting an empire in Fire Emblem that isn't just a fucking kingdom but evil? Because it was confirmed in the Theodora character description later on that the Dagda Empire essentially controls the entire continent, despite it not being depicted here and there not being any strict borders. That is because if the other two are anything like Seramis, the kingdom of Brezerant, the kingdom of Arago, and the kingdom of Seramis are all vassal states of the Dagda Empire. The second interesting thing is the origin of the empire. We are told that the goddess Sothis entrusted the entire continent and its rule to the sovereign, meaning this would explain, despite him being very clearly down with just letting his ears hang, letting everyone know that he's Nabatean, we don't see many others. The only other potential one we see with the pointy ears is Forehead over here. And we see she doesn't look like every other Nabatean, so my theory is maybe she's a mixed child of the Sovereign. There's not really any reason for her to artificially be changing her hair color like the ones in Fodlan did, so little something there. And also this gives us a brief look at what the timeline is, although we don't know very much about the timeline of even Fodlan from the time of the goddess's rule. I believe the first date on the calendar would be 50 years before the establishment of the Adrestian Empire. But it says here 1500 years ago, plus some change, whatever several major battles mean. That could be like extra 100 years, that could be one major war, right? We'll have to see. Now, let's get into the character descriptions. Number one, we have Kai, the Wind of Ribera Village. He's voiced by Daiki Yamashita. It says he is a cheerful and earnest boy who lives in the peaceful Ribera Village and cherishes his family. He spent tranquil days with his childhood friends, but on his 15th birthday, the wheels of fate began to turn. He loves moving his body and catching animals. He's a regular farm boy, you know me. I love me a farm boy. He grew up on a village that starts with an R. The best protagonists. A lot of people were kind of freaking when they saw 15. Half of the fandom decided to draw him next to Leaf and Roy, which is the correct answer. The other answer is people freaking out because they were worried about the marriage system. How will we be able to marry him if he's 15? They wouldn't make a game where we couldn't marry the protagonist, could they? Surely they'll age him up. There'll be a time skip. Maybe the 15th birthday happened 3 years ago, conveniently. I don't really care about all that. I think he's swaggy. We can see in his official art here that he doesn't have the red eyes that they show him having in certain portraits, but he does have the silly Steven Universe gemstone in his hand. Some notes on this. I've seen people mention Ribera Village, and I've seen someone mention that the etymology of that is a specific town in Portugal, but rather Ribera is a word for river in both Portuguese and Galician. And if you are one of those people who like picking out what kind of ethnicities different nations are supposed to represent, you know, I mean, look at him. He could very well be Brazilian. But B, Galician angle, right? Galicia is a culturally Celtic place, so that alongside with his name, Kai, and the name of his friend Ultund, who we saw in the last trailer, is connected to him. Both being of Celtic origin, Kai's being Welsh and Ultund's being Irish. Maybe this is the return of Kaga. We got more Celtic stuff going on. I mean, it would make sense. It's called Dagda, riches to the north. Things are going on. Next up, they show us, this is going to be one of my favorite classes in Fire Emblem. I I love the Kinshi Knights and Fates. I love like unique mounts. I love culturally unique classes, things that would not exist in other Fire Emblem games. It gives the world so much spice, you know? Only reason why I love Fates. Here we have our Ostrich Knight. I forget the exact name of it. We had it translated before. But here we go. We see, you know, basic information. It's proficient in lances, cavalry, and flying. It's a mixed cavalry flying units, and we'll see the implication of that here, where it has movement to match. It's not able to stand on top of immovable terrain like a flyer, but it sure is able to jump over it and fucking maul the enemy. I mentioned this in my last video too, but we can see Kyle over here. He has 2 crests, little Gautier crest there, which we've seen another character have. Again, my theory is we're gonna have a little bit of customization when it comes to the crest. Gonna be slapping it on people. You know, gonna be giving blood donations to people, all that. And the other interesting thing, this is my assumption at least, we can't see her face very well. This character to the right, I assume, is a female pugilist, which is something that was mentioned in a leak of a single page of the art book. Next up, we have Dietrich, and holy fucking lore! There's a lot going on with him. Let's get into it. He's voiced by Satoshi Hino, a beautiful swordsman who continues to seek battles with the strong to satisfy his own thirst. A foreigner who has come from the land of Fodlan beyond the sea. He likes things he finds beautiful, sweet things, and his sister, which I assume he thinks are both of the former. All I can say is that he's really fucking Yuritsa maxing. It's just he has a imoto instead of a one-chan, you know what I'm saying? He's a poser. He's gonna have to have immaculate writing to stand out, I don't know, the past or demons as well. But notice how I didn't mention his title at first like I did for Kai. That's because we're gonna have to expand on that. Ramisu Ie, Lamin's house. House o' Lamin. This is further pushing the fact that he had the crest of Lamin and that he is of the House of Lamin. This has people, I won't say split, I think this has got a lot of people on the side of this being a prequel, because Lamin is one of the few heroes of 3 Houses War of Heroes who doesn't have a house established at the beginning of Fire Emblem 3 Houses. Now, I don't believe it's ever mentioned specifically that they made a house, but you know, you can infer literally everyone else has a house named after them. Instead, we hear that there are 2 different houses which Mercedes belonged under that which were not. The Martells or whatever, Martz's is, I don't remember her last name, and the one that starts with B, which is her stepdad's. And so people are talking and they're talking and they're talking about this confirms it. This must come like before those houses, before the House of Lamin had been abolished. This means it has to be a prequel, right? I say nay, because look at the fucking sword in his hand! Where did that go? Where would it? Lamin's a fucking mage. Why would Lamin have a second relic and it is a sword? Unless there's an extra hero that just wasn't fucking mentioned because Rhea just like removed it from the face of the earth, as well as this artifact which stayed in the family and presumably in the public knowledge for long enough for Dietrich to consider it a legacy of killing gods and shit like that. My thing is, the things that require this to be a prequel, the answer to just conveniently exist. For there to be multiple relics for Lamin, for there to be a convenient example of multiple stones and multiple weapons being made from a single dragon corpse, which is unprecedented. I don't give a fuck about what 3 Hopes says. If that's canon, somehow one of them ended up in the fucking Shadow Realm, and the other one was just sitting on the floor in Garrick Mach, just conveniently not mentioned in the first game. That's a retcon. There's just like a lot of things that like people are saying that it would be, you know, a stretch to say that an ancestor of Mercedes or Yuritsa would rebuild their house and name it after Lamin because, well, I mean, they weren't a part of the House of Lamin. My theory is that they chose Lamin because there's clout to it. Nobody gives a fuck about the Martzes or the Burnheads. Lamin has the clout of being one of the heroes or whatever. You can gain clout from that. You can gain recognition from that. A lot of minor houses wishing that they could be that. So I don't think it's too convoluted to say that someone would want to make a house and name it specifically Lamin for clout, when the alternative is some combination of multiple fucking weapons conveniently existing and never being mentioned, or the Fail Gem got turned into a sword and got turned back There's a lot of different things for it to be a prequel that would have to be fucking weird and more convoluted than someone just deciding, you know what, Lamine was cool, I'm just gonna do that. Now that that's out of the way, we have a little thing on the answerer here. This little special combat art is called Blood Flash. It's I believe it's just Sunder. Maybe it's better Sunder, but yeah, it just increases crit. Things we see here, we just get a closer look at the portraits, at least, of his mage friend and Brazilian Miku. And there's a couple other things, like, what the fuck is this map? I'm sorry, why are there fucking electrical pylons and lead pipes everywhere? This is a fucking industrial district. The Garthans didn't even have shit that looked just like this. Is this a Garthan ruin? This is still in the fucking arena. Oh, and speaking of Garthans, what the fuck is that? People have been pointing out that that thing in the back there is a fucking thing. The inside of one of those big ass titans, I think Titanus is what it was called, that was found in Shambhala. But we also have a fucking speed blitz form. We got a speedster over here. That ain't a big ass bulky motherfucker. And then there's a gray dude in the back there. Are we fighting a Garthans here? Anyway, bigger ostrich knight. Good to see it promotes. Next up, oh, Theodora. Theodora is titled The Torch or the Flame of Megara, as voiced by Megumi Hayashibara. It says she's the young queen of the kingdom of Saramis, which reveres the Dagda Empire as its suzerain. She possesses an indomitable will to confront any hardship, and is endowed with the qualities of benefiting a king who stands above others. This is another moment of people taking Google translations too seriously. People are like, saw that the Grok translation said that it's specifically conflict, but it can similarly be translated to battle. I assume rather than starting shit being her personality trait, it's just that, she's a warrior lady. She likes battle. Might be a Sparta moment. And she likes the happiness of Saramis's people. There's a little trailer here talking about the Spear of Muhammad. It's not called that in English. If you had any doubts. Said to have been yielded by legendary heroes. Furthermore, you can use the Gambit command to borrow the strength of her army for area attacks or healing. This is another thing. People are wondering, hey, is that like a unique skill she has maybe? Maybe something tied to her weapon, being able to call Gambits, because we haven't seen them anywhere. We haven't seen Gambits in combat anywhere. Are they exclusive to her? In which case, that'd be kind of neat because, she's the only one with an actual army. We can see a few more characters more clearly, such as this boysenberry red archer. This big-ass bird knight that we saw in Theodora's original clip from the first trailer. Definitely doesn't seem like an ostrich, but maybe it's the promoted ostrich knight. And then I really can't tell. It looks like a fucking child with big eyebrows. But people are mentioning that this could be the lady with the cat mask here. People have been pointing out too, the hearts here. I'm wondering what those are too. Some people suggested maybe it's support points or something like that. Very early to have something with 5, so I'm wondering if this is like a passive support rather. Maybe like all the characters have set passive supports that they can give as well. I honestly don't know what to make of it. Tell me in the comments below what you think. Aha, perfect engagement. Last but not least, finally we have Leda, voiced by Maria Issei, a super first class vihuela. Vihuela is a 15th century fretted plucked Spanish string instrument shaped like a guitar but tuned like a lute. It was used in the 15th and 16th century Spain as the equivalent of the lute in Italy and has a large resultant repertory. Okay. A super first class vihuela player who plays enchanting melodies. Triggered by a certain incident that occurred 5 years ago, she embarks on a life consumed by revenge and resentment. She likes memories of her parents, performing songs of her homeland, jewels and applause, and her title is The Rose's Storm. And that is it for now. I'm going to be trying to put out another one of these 1 week from now. Hopefully they keep up the news because I need this. I need this, please. Yes, please. But anyway, I will see you all later. Bye.